Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Daniel Fakri bin Abdul Aziz and I'm going to present to you the introduction. So, statistics is an essential tool for certainty analysis, measurement system error analysis, test data analysis, probabilistic risk assessment, and many other areas of the engineering world. Statistics also is a science that helps us make decisions and draw conclusions in the presence of variability. Statistics also applicable to engineering, social issues, medical problems, industrial, and many more. It is conventional to begin with a statistical population or statistical model process to study like all aspects of data, including the planning of data collection in terms of the design of surveys and experiments. Interestingly, statistics also provides a basis for number of tasks within the civil engineering realm, such as modeling traffic, determine traffic queue lines, in geotechnical analysis, which to define the factor safety, hydrology and hydraulic design for rain and flood events. So in this project, the statistical data has been used and applied for a number of buses and time schedule from Johor Bahru to Kuala Lumpur. The purpose of this study is to calculate and determine the number of various buses departure time from Johor Bahru to Kuala Lumpur for 2 days, which is 13th January 2022 and 14th January 2022. The information of the buses departure time were gained from an online bus application. Thus, 10 different bus services are recorded and the data are collected based on each service's departure time from 8 am to 10 pm. So then the frequencies can be obtained and statistics analysis can be started. Okay, for the methodology, this project is related to group data. Based on the data collected from Red Bus app, the number of buses depart from Johor Bahru to Kuala Lumpur are different for 2 days. That it consists 10 different brands of buses. The collected data were being analysed using statistical method. First, the data were grouped by using minutes as parameter, which 30 minutes interval per class, graph of number of bus against time being plotted. Then, the calculation of statistics which are mean, mode, median, quartiles, and interquartile range were determined. Next, 3 common measures of dispersion such as variance, range, and standard deviation are measured. Okay, so the next part is hypothesis testing is applied as one of the methods in analyzing the data to choose between two competing hypotheses about the value of population parameters, which is null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. Next part, 2 types of error were being identified during hypothesis testing by 2 mean. And the last part is ANOVA, which is analysis of variance method. This is due to compare those sample groups all together at the same time. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Afiq and I will present about data presentation. This is our raw data. We take our raw data from redbus.my website. For the day 1, we take the bus from Johor Bahru to Kuala Lumpur at 13 January 2022. And for the day 2, we take the bus from JB to Kuala Lumpur at 14 January 2022. This is our input data for day 1 and day 2. Next is our histogram for day 1. For our histogram, we use the midpoint value for the x-axis and the frequency for our y-axis. Then next is our histogram for day 2. For the box and whisker plot, day 1, the median that we got is 317.42. Our first quartile is 141.34. Our third quartile is 505.88. Our lower bound outliers is negative 405.43. Upper bound outliers is 1052.69. And then, if put those into the figure, and this is our box and whisker plot for day 1. Next is box and whisker plot for day 2. Our median is 353.7. Our first quartile is 179.5. Our third quartile is 557.07. Lower bound outliers is negative 386.86. Upper bound outliers is 1123.43. This is the figure for box and whiskers plot for day 2.
Hello, my name is Yuzaimi bin Jeffrey Zulkifli, and I will continue present about analysis and result. This is the table of the frequency that have been collected from the data. The size class of the data is 29. This is the calculation of statistic for day 1. Mean x bar equals summation fx over summation f, which is f is frequency and x is the midpoint of the class, equals to 43,128.5 per 127 equals to 339.59. For the mode day 1 equals to Lm plus d1 over d1 plus d2 times c, which is Lm is the lower boundary of the class that contain the mode. d1 is different between frequency of the mode and the frequency class before it, and d2 is the difference between the frequency of the mode and the frequency class after it, and the c is the size class of the mode. And get the answer for the mode in day 1 is 113.7. And then for median equals to Lm plus n over 2 minus Fl over Fm times by c. Lm is the lower boundary of the median class. N is the summation of the frequency. Fl is the cumulative frequency class before the median class, and Fm is frequency of the median class, and C is the size class. And get the answer is 317.42. For the variance, summation fx square minus in bracket summation fx square over summation f over summation f minus 1, and get the answer is 46,500.09. For the standard deviation, square it the variance and get the answer 215.64. For the first quartile, the class boundary is 121 until 150 in minutes, and for the first quartile, the formula is L1 plus 1 over 4 n minus Fl over Fk times C, and get the answer is 141.34. The third quartile of the class is 481 until 510. The formula is L3 plus 3 over 4n minus Fl per Fk times C, and get the answer 505.88. For the interquartile range, Q3 minus by Q1, and get the answer is 364.54. Continue the calculation of statistic for day 2. The mean for day 2 is 376.33. Mode 2 is 100 209.14. The median for day 2 is 353.7. The variance is 55,064.17. Standard deviation is 234.66. The first quartile, the class is 151 until 180, and the answer is 179.5. The third quartile, the class boundary is 541 until 570, and the answer is 557.07. The interquartile range is equal to Q3 minus Q1, and get answer is 377.57. And this is the table of summarize the statistic for day 1 and day 2. The mean in minutes for day 1 is 339.59, and day 2 is 376.33. For the mode, in day 1 is 113.7, and day 2 is 109.14. The median for day 1 is 317.42, and day 2 is 353.7. For the variance in day 1 is 46,500.09, and for the day 2 is 55,064.17. The standard deviation for day 1 is equal to 215.64, and for the day 2 is 234.66. The first quartile for day 1 is 141.34, and for the day 2 is 179.5. The third quartile for day 1 is 505.88, and for the day 2 is 557.07. The interquartile range for day 1 is 364.54, and for the day 2 is 377.57.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Muhammad Abduri, and I will continue this presentation. So for hypothesis testing, sample size day 1 is 127, for day 2 is 108, mean day 1 is 339.59, for day 2 is 376.33, n is bigger than 30, standard deviation is known, so use Z value. For Z value, there are 5 steps. Step 1 is state the null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. So H null is mean day 1 less than mean day 2. H alternative, mean day 1 bigger than mean day 2. So based on the characteristic, it is a one-tailed test. So step 2 is select a level of significance. We assume our level of significance is 0.05. Step 3, identify the test statistic. To find Z, mean day 1 minus mean day 2 over square root variance day 2 over n plus variance day 2 over m. So our Z value is negative 1.24. Next, step 4. Formulate a decision rule. 0.5 minus 0.05 equal to 0.45. From Z table, Z critical is 1.65. Last step is make a decision. Since the calculated Z is 1.25 less than the critical Z, which is 1.65, and does not fall in the rejection region, so do not reject H null, which say there is no difference in average time of day 1 and day 2. For analysis of variance, we use F-test. So this is the data. Mean for day 1 is 359.59, total frequency is 127, variance day 1 is 46500.09 denominator, and degree of freedom is number of sample minus 1 is equal to 27. For day 2, the mean is 376.33, total frequency is 108, variance is 55064.17 numerator, and the degree of freedom is 27. So next, identify the null and alternative hypothesis to determine use one-tail test or two-tail test. So for our project this, we use one-tail test and assume our significant level is 0.05. Our F value is 1.18 and our F critical is interpolation from denominator and numerator equal to 27 from F table. We get our F critical is 1.90. Lastly, since the calculated F value is 1.18 less than the F critical 1.9 and does not fall in the rejection region, do not reject H null and thus accept H null, which say there is no difference in average time of day 1 and day 2. So that's all for analysis data. Thank you.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. For the t-test, since this project has 2 data samples, there are 2 mean for the t-test. The sample size of day 1 is 127 and day 2 is 108. The mean for day 1 is 339.59 and the day 2 is 376.33. Since the n is more than 30, the standard deviation is known and using the z value. The first step is state the null hypothesis, which is one-tail test. Then state the level of significance, which is 0.05. After that, identify the test statistics, which is z equal to negative 1.24. From that table, the z critical value is 1.65. Since the z value is negative, the value is at the left side of the graph. Then make a decision since the calculated z equal to negative 1.24 is less than crucial zc h2 was accepted, which says that there is no difference in average of time between day 1 and day 2. For the F test, since this project has 2 data samples, there are 2 mean for the F test. The first step is to calculate the mean for day 1 and day 2, which is 339.59 for day 1 and 376.33 for day 2. Then, the value mean must be subtracted and squared by their own mean and obtain a total of 127 for day 1 and 108 for day 2. After that, calculate the variance for each sample to obtain the numerator and denominator value, which is 46,500.09 and 55,064.17. Then, find the F value by dividing the denominator and numerator value. Since the data has 28 samples, the value of 34 have been used. The value of 37 have been used at F table. By assuming 0.05 of alpha value, a table of critical F are created and preferred. For the conclusion, based on the data that have been collected through redbus.my website, the number of buses in day 1 is higher than day 2. The second day is Friday, which is in the state of Johor. Friday is weekend and many bus drivers are not in their duty. Then the number of buses also decreasing during the night. It is because the number of passengers also decreased during the night. From the tests that have been calculated that have mean standard deviation, we conducted the Z test and the T test. We concluded that we accept the null hypothesis HO because there is no difference in average time of day 1 and day 2. Finally, this project raises awareness of the importance of statistical knowledge. Statistical knowledge helps you use the proper method to collect the data, employ the correct analysis, and effectively present the results. Statistics is a crucial process behind how we make discoveries in science, make decisions based on data, and make predictions. Thank you.